everybody. Welcome to DNS Live. It's the middle of the week. It's been a long day. It's already been a long week. And my guest tonight and I have this challenge going on. So if you're watching the show, you're kicking back at home, go ahead and grab yourself a drink. I got the redneck version of a wine glass going on tonight. It's not a red Solo cup. It's blue because we do blue in this house. We don't do red. So you guys grab your Solo cup, grab your glass of wine, grab you something to drink. Let's sit and kick back. We're going to talk a little paranormal tonight, but nothing serious. We've been pretty serious the last couple of weeks. We're going to take a break tonight and have some fun. So anyway, it's been kind of a crazy week. We finished up with a client over the weekend with a cleansing, and we're pretty successful at that. Had some changes happen for her throughout the week, which is good. I always love it when a client case wraps up good and we have some positivity come out of it. So that was kind of the bang to our week this week. We still have 2 more cases that are coming up that we're going to start working on. So now that we've got the move done and we're kind of settled, still kind of living out of boxes though, y'all. But now that we're a little bit settled, the team's starting to pick back up, and with the weather getting nicer, it's going to be nice. So we're getting out for sure, going out of town in April. We'll be going out of town again in May. March still has some things to hold for us. We're working on some other things kind of on the back burner. I've been working on a project for about 6 months now, so you guys might see that pop up around summertime. It just depends on how hard I can get the feet hitting the pavement and get some stuff done. I do wanted to let you guys know that coming up, I think we're going to start it the week after next. We are going to start bringing on the NPS reps. So you guys got to meet the department chairs and talk to everybody and chat with them and ask questions and kind of pick their brains a little bit for their department. So now we're going to bring the reps on, the guys that you guys get to chat with and get to boot the ads and kind of play teacher, I guess, for lack of a better word, on the wall with everybody. So we're going to do them 2 at a time. It should be a party on the show. You guys, if y'all want to send me questions ahead of time to ask these reps, I kind of told them we were going to fly by the seat of our pants and that I wasn't really going to give them like an outline or anything. So I kind of want to put them on the spot. You know, we uphold everything for NPS on the wall. We uphold the rules and we do all that. So we kind of are always walking a line, so to speak, in there. So I kind of want to catch them off guard. So if you guys have some really off-the-wall type questions we can ask them, send them to me because I would love to kind of catch them off guard. So we'll do that. We've got 12 reps. We'll do that for about 6 weeks. And that should take us into the nice weather. And then we plan on doing some more live investigations. So you guys stay tuned. We're going to have some fun with a lot of that. You never know where we're going to be and where we're going to end up. I know we had Brandy on last week. She had a very successful book signing over the weekend. You guys can buy her book on Amazon. And I believe Walmart was carrying it as well. I need to put some links up for that and support her. But I did want to thank you guys for watching last week and those of you that showed up to support her. She had an awesome opening for her book signing, so I was really proud to hear about that. What else do we have going on? I got a ninja in the background over here, so I'm going to kind of lean to you. I'm going to be video bombed tonight by the ninja that is known as Pear Beats. Where do you want to go? I mean, where do you want to go investigate for the show?
I want to go to Haunted Hill House again. I think that was fun.
Hill House or Haunted Hill House?
Wait, there's 2 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So let's clarify for you guys that are here in the Metroplex. There is Hill House Manor, which is in Gainesville, and that's our favorite place to go.
Yes.
That Linda and Del Hill own, just up the road here. And then there's Haunted Hill House, which is in Mineral Wells, which is probably, 2 blocks from the Baker Hotel. And you guys, let's talk about the Baker.
Ooh.
If you've been realizing or paying attention on my page, if you guys are personal friends of me, or if you've been watching Channel 8 in Dallas, we actually have seen, we've actually seen some updates on the Baker Hotel in the news. They had one of the news reporters go out there, and she actually did a walkthrough, and they're talking about the renovations. So coming up in March, and it's a huge vote. I think it comes up, I want to say it's the 9th, but don't quote me on that. I know it's sometime the 2nd week of March. They are doing a vote in Mineral Wells, and they are voting for, I believe it's a tax referendum to, I want to say it was like a 1/4 cent or something like that tax. And what's going to end up happening is they're going to come up with the balance of the money needed, which is, I know this sounds like a lot to those of us that don't make a lot of money, but They only lack $4 million to raise the $56 million to start renovations on the Baker. And if this tax referendum passes, then you guys, they're going to start renovating towards the end of this year. And it will take them about a year to have the Baker ready. So that means this time next year it could be under construction. And when we're going on the Ghost Walk with Angela, we might have...
Hello?
Yeah.
We lost Terry.
I didn't hang up. I just said added to the call. Ooh, Skype is doing bad things.
Welcome to
All right.
Hi,
Hello.
Sherry.
Can you hear me?
Man, I apologize, everybody. That is a Skype issue.
That
Can you
is
hear me?
Yep.
TV.
We hear you just fine.
All right. What do I need to click so I can see you?
You won't see me.
You'll see me.
You'll see Sherry, and that's it.
back to them. We were just talking about the Baker, and if this tax referendum passes, it will be open within a year. So this time next year, they'll be doing some construction, and probably around Christmas of next year, we'll be able to go out and investigate the Baker. So I plan on renting a room. You guys, if y'all want to get on the train, let's go. Let's fill a whole floor, and let's go investigate the Baker. Let's go see what's going on tonight. So now we've got Mr. Graves on with us. Somebody had to go fill his wine glass.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me? I was telling everybody I got the redneck version of a wine glass tonight. It's a blue Solo cup, not red.
Do I need to click on you to look at you?
I'm not as fancy as you. Can you
All
see?
right. I'm just talking to your picture.
You should be. Oh, but you know what? I don't know what version of Skype you're using. You may or may not be able to see me.
Yeah, I used the Windows 8, and I guess that's a little too updated. So.
You know, kind of archaic over here some days, but I don't know. You scare me being that up to date on stuff.
Oh, right. Well, it's funny. When we did the last interview, I just had the phone pressed to my ear, and now I'm just looking at a static computer screen talking to it.
You're like, I'm just talking to my computer now. Now I'm really talking, and it's talking back. What the hell?
Right. It's talking back. So.
You know, I feel like it's Christmas time. You got lights back there in your tree.
You can see that. I can see nothing. Okay, yeah, there it is.
I can see it.
Cool,
I got
cool.
stuff back behind me. I probably need to come up with something really cool right here for the background. Make it look like I'm on the beach or something.
Oh, okay. Now I'm starting to see something. Now if I click, okay, here we go.
What do you see? What do you see? Describe it to me.
Okay, it says you're seeing video on this call because Eric has a group call video. Find out. Okay. Oh, here. Now I can see myself.
Woohoo! Now you can see everything.
Let me get positioned here. Yeah, that's better.
All right. Can everybody see us now?
Who's running in the background? Who's that?
That's Ninja Parabeats.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
I told him it was a no holds barred show tonight, so
Sure. Well,
he didn't have
cheers.
for tonight.
Cheers. There you go.
Cheers. Let's go. See my blue redneck cup?
Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
I know. I'm good. What have you been up to? You're working on another book now, aren't you?
It's the last one. It's the last one of the series.
Of this series. I was gonna say I don't believe you're writing your last book.
Well, it's the last one of the ghost photography. That's it. So yeah,
So
that'll
what's
be
this one.
that'll be it.
What are you talking about in this one?
This one's gonna get a chance to. Boy, you have to excuse the awkwardness. This is bizarre. This is weird.
Hey, welcome to my world. I have to do this every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday night. Okay.
But you know, it's been like I look at my camera here, but to see you, I have to look over here, so it looks like I'm not paying attention. So it's kind of like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Well, I'm looking at myself and I'm looking at you, and it's weird. It's like talking to yourself in a mirror, and that's very weird.
All right.
That's weird. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to cover myself. Yeah, basically the third book wraps everything up. You know, with the Catfish Tale, it was a chance to really explore the innocence of exploring the childhood interest. The second book really took it to a different level where it really just got deeper into really the whole spirituality of the paranormal. And then the third one really brings it all together. The story brings it all together. and it gives me a chance to really reflect on pretty much the last 4 years, because as of May 15th, I would have been photographing this stuff for 4 years.
Wow.
And the irony of it is, the last photos I will take will actually end right about the same time. So
Wow.
that'll be it. Yeah,
So-
but this one's going to be great. It's going to be double the photos of the first two.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really something else. I've been looking at these photos for so long, it does get you a little jaded. You get a little jaded because you see them a lot. But
Yeah.
one of the great things of going through all the photography as I'm putting together the last book, which is pretty much a no holds barred kind of book in a roundabout sense, and when I'm picking photos for it, it really gives me a chance to go through these archives, and it's just amazing. And I've pretty much grown to re-love it all over again. And it's just one of those things where I can't believe I've photographed that much, and I'm just grateful after almost 4 years I still have my sanity about it. So
Right?
it drives you crazy. No.
So you got to find some new locations now to go take pictures of.
Right. Well, there's a few surprises that'll be in this one. I don't want to blow anything. There's definitely some surprises coming up. And hey, what's funny now? I'm looking at a frozen image of myself. That's horrible.
I know Skype does that every once in a while, and then all of a sudden you look and it'll be right back online. But the funny thing is, everybody watching the show can see everything. It's weird.
Well, they're not seeing this frozen static image.
No, they're seeing a black square. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, right. Because this is not too pretty. It's like someone catching you in one of those pictures that at a drunken party, and someone snaps that picture of you, and it's like, look at me, everybody.
That's too funny. That is too funny. You're gonna have to make.
With the third book though, there'll be some new stuff. There'll definitely be a lot of great photos that didn't make the first two that definitely need to see their day in print.
Awesome.
And of course there's some new stuff. Definitely some new stuff added in, and also you're going to have to revisit the classics. There's going to be
Worst.
Yeah, there's got to be some classics that I have to revisit and put in the book, because they pretty much cemented my career, and so they have to get that acknowledgement. But the format, what I've done is I've come up with a really amazing format, and what it'll allow me to do is when I do revisit some of these images that were in a hand-picked certain amount of images that were in the first two books, it's basically a way of presenting them in a way that they've never been seen before. So you're getting these images that you've seen from the first two if you have the first two books, but you'll be able to because of the formatting, and I don't want to give anything away, but it'll be a pretty mind-blowing what I'm able to do with them this trip out. So
Awesome. So when do you think you're going to have it all finished for us to see it?
it's going to be out in October. Mm-hmm.
October.
Halloween time.
Halloween time. That's perfect. That is perfect. Are you going to do like a big old book signing and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, sure. What I'm going to do, because some of the locations are in Dallas, so this is a big one. So I'm going to be doing both Fort Worth and Dallas signings,
Awesome.
and of course I'll be putting those up later on my Facebook page for everyone to be able to go and see, attend, and so it's going to be really cool.
Make sure you post them on my page so I see them and I can share them.
Oh, I definitely will. Don't want to give away too much, though. Don't want to give away a whole lot, including the title of this. A lot of the things
I
that
know
I
what
do.
I know what the title is. It's called The Third and Final Chapter.
No. Book 3, that'd be terrible. You just simply put Book 3 on it and slap it out into the...
Book 3 of 3.
Book 3 of 3. Yeah, no.
Feed me. I don't know. I should try my hand up.
What it is that when you're coming up, a lot of the stuff that I do because I don't really just write a book, I build a book, because I do everything from cover to cover. And a lot of things, just like with the other two, they'll just come to me. I'll wake up and go, oh, wow, this is it. Here's the title. Oh, wait a second. I'll wake up another day. It's just these little epiphanies that'll happen as I'm putting the material together. And it's like, wow, and I'll put down all my notes and I'll put it all together, so that way I don't forget all of these little important things I find. And then later on, it just comes together.
A couple of times, it sounds like.
I'm sorry?
You may even change the cover photo a couple of times, it sounds like.
Cover photo is yet to be determined. I have an idea of, I know where I'm going to get it from, and I have a great idea of what I'm looking for, but that one has not been picked yet. So. Just the title so far. So.
So this is book 3. So does that mean we have to wait another year before you start writing some new series?
Well, no, actually, what it's going to do is this will really truly be it for the ghost photography. Next year, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be writing my children's books under a pen name.
No way! Are you really going to write children's books?
I am going to write children's books. I decided to use a pen name though because I really want to keep the properties separate. I've been working on a children's book series kind of off and on for the past couple of years. But I really, in my heart and soul, I really needed to see this series through the completion, through the end of it, which is, you've got your 3 books. And this was not necessarily intended to be 3 originally, but it did. It's just the messages I get was say, you must write 3.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a trio of books.
No. Especially when you can't find anything else like that out in the universe, So
yeah, as long as it's 3 scratches or the mark of 3, it's okay to have 3.
Well, it's all right to have 3. Well, they say everything takes 5 years, and basically I'm entering in my 4-year plan. I'm entering in year 4. Now, the books, just because the books end doesn't mean that the journey of it in itself ends. I mean, I definitely am looking into a lot of media projects with it. I'm definitely looking into a lot of speaking gigs and engagements. And I make no qualms about it. I will be shopping the film rights, and we'll see what happens. But it definitely has a lot of potential afterwards. But in order to get to that level, it really needed to be completed. You needed to have all 3. Just when they started putting Hunger Games movies out, they didn't start pumping them out just because book 1 was out and that was it. You really have to complete it. You really have to have it it has to be as a whole. And so it's going to be really cool what'll come of it in the next year. I guarantee it.
There's going to be a lot. And when Michael Graves says it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Well, we need a good ghost movie, don't we? We need a good one.
We need some good ones. Lately, they've been just a little bit too, I don't know, horror-based, not enough era-based.
Right. Well, the running thing is that when a movie happens in my books, at least they can use the photos as references in the CGI department, right? So
exactly. Be like, no, it's supposed to look like this. Let me show you how to take this picture. Michael's got a picture of it. I've been around Michael when he takes pictures. It's awesome.
Well, thank you very much. It's I tell you one thing I'm really looking forward to, and because what I'll be doing as I'm working on the children's books, I'll be writing a screen treatment for it, and really just have a lot of ideas for it, and like I'll tell anybody, I'll take this as far as the good Lord allows, and I really see a lot of potential to it, and I would love to share it in that medium. And I tell you, one of the biggest dreams I've ever wanted to see is especially the angel at the end of Catfish.
Yes.
Tail, to actually see that come alive on the screen.
That would
be amazing. Just to get the whole thing in CGI properly.
I still hadn't even been out to Catfish. I need to go out there and investigate sometime.
You need to. Last time I was out there, I'm going through this thing right now where I see more than I used to see, and so I'm not used to seeing stuff. And whenever I go out there, I get mobbed by the spirits that are out there.
They're like, dude, take my picture. You've been out here so many times, you got everybody else.
Yeah, well, it sounds silly, but it really is like that. And I'll be talking to somebody, and I'll be seeing these little white flashes, or seeing this little black smoke wisp besides people's heads. I'll feel stuff come up behind me, and it's like, at some point, it is a little overwhelming, and so it's like, I got to get out of here for a minute.
Yeah, I need a break. Break.
Well, they know you've written a book about him. They know it. They know how it rolls.
Here he comes again. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him.
Right. Well, but yeah, you've been with me doing photography before. You kind of get an idea of what it's like.
Yeah, I was just like, wow. Michael's running around taking pictures. Like, look, and I'm like, oh my god, and look, and I'm like, would you stop already? I'm like taking pictures. Nothing. Michael's over there right next to me. Look. I'm like, really? Dude, what? Jealous.
It's
It
a
is
gift.
a gift.
It
It is a gift. It's either that or they just don't like the Divas. So,
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I will, if I was to say one more thing with book 3, as far as everybody always talks about orbs, that's such a big deal. And this, as a journalist and a photographer who has been doing this for 4 years, I will lay that to rest in book 3. It will be brought to rest.
In 2 weeks, I think it is, on the NPS page, I'm doing Photography Week Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking about orbs that week.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I have some fun stuff going on for a whole day about orbs.
Well, I'm going to finally be able to, from my perspective, really lay it to rest. And plus, I will say I have an amazing, probably as far as orbs go, one of the most amazing sequences photographically from Carter Town. That will, not only will I verbally, in writing, lay it to rest, but you will see this amazing series of photos that will have any orb doubter changing their tune very quickly. So
we'll be able to have something to actually see.
Oh, in a series of photos. It's quite amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It is. And I'll say some of it looks kind of outer space. It's pretty wild.
We've had a lot of talk about orbs. That seems to be pretty popular on the NPS page lately.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The one thing with them, if you look at orbs, it's just like fishing. They're very common. They are what they are. They are spirit energy. But a lot of people are quick to dismiss them because of how common they are. But I tell you, it's just like fishing. For every small fish you catch in the pond, say it's an orb, eventually you're going to get that apparition. You're going to get an angel picture or something. And what's real unique about going back to the angel photos from catfish, if you look at the interior of the wing, it's all interlocking balls of light, which is exactly what you would photograph on an individual basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard for people to. They don't necessarily always make the greatest photos. The ones I choose to put in the books are the ones that are exceptionally interesting, that really have a lot more happening.
You really debunk.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I've taken the same cameras that I shoot all these ghost photos with. I've taken the same cameras in the places that I would think was haunted. Same amount of pictures, same settings, same everything, and actually walked away with nothing. And so sometimes just simply walking away with nothing under the same circumstances shows that it is something.
Yeah.
So, and it's really an interesting thing. And
all the time. And everybody thinks every time you go somewhere it's always active. It's not always active at the same location all the time.
No, it really depends on the person. That really goes back to on the person. I mean, every time I go to Carter Town, it's just an amazing thing. Now, what's funny, I go to Carter Town with certain people that were really in tune with the paranormal, and it's just it blows up. I go by myself, same things. Then I've been with people out there a couple of times where they just weren't connecting with it, and it just wasn't happening like that. Even though I was getting photographs, they weren't. So go figure, right? So,
yeah. Well,
I probably have an entourage of them that follow me around, and it's like, okay, guys, let's hop in front of the camera now.
Pull out the camera! Everybody, hurry!
Right. Let's here he is. What would be really weird and funny if all these photographs were the same thing all this time?
Oh my God, wouldn't that be funny?
That would be funny.
That's Fred, and that's Fred, and that's Fred, and there's Fred, and there's Fred, and there. Guess what? There's Fred.
Well, I'll tell you one more interesting thing about Carter Town, because this place is just amazing, and you don't really hear about it, but it's just one of those places that's so off the map, but at the same time it's mind blowing.
I've heard a lot of crazy stuff about that place. I haven't been out there yet either, but I've heard it's crazy out there.
You need to go with me. You and me, just you and me. Let's go out there.
Let's do a show from there.
I'm sorry?
Let's do a show from there.
We should. Oh, it'll kill your equipment, but maybe. But I tell you what's real unique. Going back to orbs, what's unique about Carter Town is that there's certain ones out there, and I recognize them in the photographs.
Oh wow!
And, right, they have distinct markings, distinct colors, and it's like, oh well, there's that one. You ever see shows on sharks where pretty much all the great white sharks look the same, but one of them has a scar on it, or one of them?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and I go out there and I know which one is the dominant one. There's a very dominant one that pretty much runs the show out there, and it shows up in a lot of photographs. But I can recognize them from distinctions, like and they hang out in certain areas. It's really unique.
That's cool. Well, I had a question for you.
You need to go.
I have a question. Freak wants to know what your theory on activity during the day versus night is.
It doesn't matter. Like catfish. Well, I tell you what. Actually, it does matter to a degree. Now, if you look at a place like Catfish Plantation, and if you go back to the book A Catfish Tale, what most people don't realize, unless I point it out, the majority of those photos were taken during the bright sunlit day, and it didn't have to be 3 a.m. to get these pictures. Now, I will say that the cycling of activity is different throughout the day and time, but you got to think Catfish Plantation, for instance, and using it as an example, you talk about the veil that separates the spirit world from ours. At Catfish Plantation, that veil is pierced. They are in residence, and they pretty much kind of have run of everything. So you're talking about spirits that are not really they're pretty much no holds barred there, and no one's trying to like discourage them from haunting it. So it's always going on. And then you can have a home that's haunted where it's not necessarily welcome there, but yet at certain times of the night, things will kick in. I don't know what it is about the cycling time. I don't know. But I will say that the majority of this stuff prefers the nighttime. I don't know why.
Well, and it's kind of funny because it's been one of those ongoing questions of when is the best time to investigate? And a lot of people will tell you, if you're going out and you're working on a client case, for example, and they're telling you that they have more activity during the day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then that's when you need to do your investigation because that's when it's more active. But a lot of us, I think, get so comfortable with going at night because we've got the night vision cameras, we've got the infrared set up, and don't have the outside disturbances and noises, so it makes it a little bit cleaner for our investigation. So it does make me wonder, a lot of places, and even like Catfish, they've even talked about, they have activity 24/7. So when is a good time to go investigate? And I think a lot of that's just based on the history of the activity.
Well, everything waxes and wanes throughout the hours of the day, but once a place is haunted, it's haunted. It really doesn't matter. But that's in my opinion. I've had instances where I've had to go help people out that were having issues. Of course, me not being a paranormal investigator person, I just validate the haunting with photography, and having had photographed so much stuff, I can usually validate the strength of it or the frequency of it. But really, just in a way, you got to think. If you're a paranormal team, naturally you're going to want to get evidence.
We want details, yeah.
Right. I mean, so it's just a matter of what you really want. Like when I go photograph at a home of a family that needs help, of course I'm not there to gather any evidence. I just simply shoot the photography. But if something's in the house, it doesn't matter if it's day or night. I will find it. Whether it's manifest in a ball of light or if it's manifest in a shadow. Either way, I've never not been able to find it. So, and what's funny, I'll share this with you. You go over to someone's home, and the one room, all the blinds are open, all the sun's coming through the room. They have that one room that the blinds are shut and the curtains are drawn. That's the room it's in. It wants to be in the dark. So go figure, right?
It doesn't want to be seen. It wants to kind of hang out and kind of crawl into a corner, so to speak.
It does. I mean, like one of the best, going back to Cartertown, one of the best photographs I ever got is during the daytime. It was extremely active, but whatever haunts the church didn't want to come out in the sunlight. So when I walked out, and this picture is in the second book, but when I walked out of the church door, I turned and took a picture, and it was an apparition, but it was an apparition still encased in a ball of light, and it was about 5 or 6 feet tall. But it was standing in the doorway looking at me, and I was standing about 3 feet away when I took the picture. But keeping in mind, it did not want to come out into the sunlight. It didn't want to go out. So.
It just wanted you to know that it was there. It was watching you.
Yeah, and it knew I could stand in the sun, and it couldn't. So
yeah, right? Like, oh, you leaving now? Bye.
Well, Well, I'll tell you what's funny. You know, you remember the Pride House? All these hauntings of.
That was such a sad loss. I still can't believe we lost the Pride House.
Well, yeah, it's really, really sad, and it is such a wonderful experience. And I tell you one thing, they talk about the little girl that haunts it named Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that shadow thing I was photographing around 3 or 4 in the morning was about 6 feet tall, and it didn't resemble any kind of little girl.
That's not Jenny. No, that's not Jenny.
That's not Jenny. I don't know who Jenny is. I mean, I don't know. But I tell you, going back to times of hauntings, I mean, around 3 or 4 in the morning, that's usually when you'll get those little balls of light will turn into spirits and shadows and all this other such. And I don't know what that's all about, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it either. So
I get a picture of it. That's all I care about.
Snap, snap. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
exactly. Just kind of smile. Snip, snip, snip. Well, house. I actually stayed in the room that was supposed to have had a lot of activity to where when you slept at night, you would feel somebody on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was up all night investigating. I never had a chance to lay down and experience that. But we were downstairs a lot, and, we did have some activity there. But, I don't remember, like you said, I don't remember coming across a little girl at all.
Well, no. Do you know what's funny is that I wonder if these hauntings really have anything to do with the stories behind it necessarily all the time. I wonder if sometimes just people look back, a place is haunted and they look back at the history and they're trying to intertwine it, they're trying to pull things together and like say, well, this must have been this, or this must be, but I never get that impression necessarily, and in fact the biggest impression I get, it's the land. It's the land.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been to plenty of places where it's been more land-based than anything. We were talking earlier about Hill House Manor. Hill House Manor seems to be a way station for some of these spirits coming and going, because you never have the same interaction with the same spirit twice there. You just never do, unless it's the creeper. But, I mean, other than that, I've been there so many times, and I've had a different experience every time. I've encountered the ghost cat there twice. I've encountered the creeper there probably more the last couple of times I've gone than I have any other time. And we've just had different things in different areas and different rooms of that location.
Well, I tell you, I never had issues inside the home until after going there.
Really?
And so I personally, no offense to Hill House Manor, I won't set foot back in it, but yeah, I got spoiled on Captain's Plantation. Whatever haunts there is secure there. But Hill House Manor is like a train station of coming and going, and after going there, it wasn't good. I'll put it that way. I was not.
That was my very, very, very first investigation 4 years ago, and I've been back a couple of times every year since. And that place downstairs in the murder room creeps me out every single time. And the last time I was there, the guys made me actually start my investigation in that room when I was filming Alone for NPS. And it really freaked me out. I had the creeper come up behind me that night. I had him affect my tri-cam that night, which scared the living shit out of me. I finally got up the nerve to kind of move around down in that area from the murder room into the main room, and my tri-cam battery just died instantly, and that kind of freaked me out. When Deegan came in to do his spill in there, we actually have on our EVP recorders footsteps running up behind him. And we have from the TriCam audio recording, he's talking to another investigator and they ask a question and this EVP answers it. And the guys didn't hear it when they were talking, but we heard it back on the EVP. Kind of freaked me out because I know it's the creeper dude. He and I are...
Well, I tell you, every photograph, I only have one remaining photograph from there, but I deleted every photograph from there, and I pretty much closed the book as best as I could on it, because what it was is just, it was Fort Worth Paranormal at the time. They were having an event there, and I was new, I'd never been anywhere else but Captain's Plantation, so I kind of was there documenting and stuff, and afterwards, right afterwards, it just wasn't very nice coming home not alone. So,
yeah, well, and
and it wasn't good. It wasn't good for a while.
Yeah, that's kind of why, and like you said, you're more on the photography side than the investigative side. I learned early on, my prayer protection when I get there, my prayer protection when I leave, because fortunately, the one spirit that did follow me home has been one of my protective spirits. But, the one time that I forgot that closing prayer, I ended up bringing home a new spirit, and he's been with me for going on 2 years now. Adolphus, everybody hears me talk about Adolphus, my jokester in the house. But, I was very fortunate I didn't bring home something else. So I learned, no offense to Adolphus, but I learned, okay, make sure you say your opening prayer and your closing prayer. Make sure you're wearing your crystals. Make sure you've got everything ready to go, and make sure you're alert, because you know what? That's the last thing I need to bring home, especially with having a 5-year-old in the house,
Right. Well, I've had a mix of things. We don't really have anything that I would consider permanent here. We do have a lot of coming and going. Sometimes things, it's just simply passing through.
Mm-hmm.
The worst, though, was after Hill House. It would mimic my wife's voice in my ear.
Gosh.
It was pretty hardcore for a while. It was one of those things where I tell you, and you talk about the spirituality, because I don't really focus on evidence. I focus on the spirituality of all of this, and really it was by God's grace that everything is fine now.
Yeah.
But we still on occasion you'll have stuff pass through. Everybody has stuff pass through, but everything on the other side knows who knows. They know who knows. So
Right.
They come through and it's like, hey, and you just, once I really let go of the fear of it and I let go of thinking about it all the time, it pretty much killed it. But
Yeah.
now that I'm back working on a project again, there's a level of caution that I exercise, because it does stir the pot.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Okay, Parafreak's asking if you've been to Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells yet. Have you heard about that place?
I have heard about it, have not been there, no.
Yeah,
Where is it? Mineral Wells.
Phil's had it open, let's see, I want to say he started it, I went and visited with him last
Mm-hmm.
November, I think it was, and he'd only had it open maybe a couple of months, but he is literally 2 blocks down from the baker. Like, you can stand in the yard and see the baker. You can see the pool of the baker.
Oh, wow, that's going to be cool.
And it's
I haven't been there yet.
You need to go. It's very active. The night that I went, I was actually talking to him about some stuff with NPS, and I was filming the Baker Hotel Ghost Walk with Angie that night. Mm-hmm. And so I had some time to spare, so I got out there early and was visiting with Phil, and it was just the 2 of us in the house. And man, it was creepy. We had some watching us the entire time. The house itself, I mean, it's very, it's spacious, but it's small, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The upstairs is very creepy. But we were sitting downstairs in the kitchen just talking, and I could see someone standing in the doorway just watching us, just curious about who we were, what we were doing, and all of that. And so I pulled out my ghost box and was telling Phil, hey, let's pull the ghost box out and let's just see what happens while we're just sitting here visiting. And he's telling me about his experiences, and he's telling me about the people before him that owned the house, how they had come and told him some of their experiences. And so we were talking about this, and all of a sudden I looked down at my ghost box and I was like, well, let's just see if we can get any interaction with these spirits. So I said, can you tell me the owner's name? And sure as shit, Philip comes across, and he about flipped out. He was like, did that really just say my name? I said, yeah, it did. So they know who you are. So we had a conversation with this spirit for a little bit, and we kind of walked around the house, and he was like, can you get it to do it again? And so, we kept asking and interacting, and I was like, man, this is kind of cool. And he was like, well, I need to go out to my truck and get something. Do you mind staying by yourself? I was like, no, not at all. Yeah, I was kind of creeped out.
Well, yeah.
I would love to go back just to have an actual investigation there. I mean, it was fun. I spent probably about 2.5, almost 3 hours there with him before the ghost walk. But it was really a very interesting location. And from what he was telling me, he sits kind of a little more than halfway on the block. And there's probably, I don't know, maybe another house or two towards the baker before it gets to another street. And then if you go around the corner, there's a red brick house there that nobody's purchased yet. And from what I've heard, it is extremely active. And if I remember correctly, the realtor there won't even show the house. She'll give you the key. You go look at it. You bring the key back to her because she has had so much happen to her in that house. So that's kind of one of the ones I'm waiting to see. Excuse me, who's going to buy it to see if we can go out there and kind of get a 2-for-1 in one night.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, like in the paranormal field, you're a great friend, and I hold you in great esteem. I would love to accompany you one time, and seeing that I'm about to close the door on a big part of this, maybe come along with you once, show you what I do. I mean, you got kind of a small little nibble of it at when I saw you at the.
Yeah, we did our event.
Right at the event, but for me to go, and then I can kind of maybe even pass the torch to you. How about that? I'll show you a few things.
That'd be. You can show me some tricks of the trade. That'd be awesome.
I can't, because I keep a lot of that under wraps. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, the paranormal field. Granted, there's their fair share of opportunists, and so I keep a lot of that under lock and key. But now that I'm about to wrap it up, you know, I can definitely throw you a few pointers out there.
That would be awesome. I'd love to go out there. You know, we were talking about on the show. I'm going to finish up. You know, we have you tonight. I have a location owner actually, or somebody that actually represents a location owner on next week. And then after that, we're going to do the NPS reps. I'm going to do 2 reps a night for 6 weeks. And after that, we're going to start kind of getting back up to par and doing some live investigations. So I would love to go out to Mineral Wells. It's my favorite city anyway around here that's haunted. Hang out at the Baker, maybe hang out with Angela, do the ghost walk. Crazy Water Hotel just sold to a new owner, so I'm curious to see what happens with that. I've heard it's somebody out of Vegas, so we'll see what happens with that. But it'd be awesome just to even walk around Mineral Wells and kind of get a take. The whole place is haunted. I mean, you can't go wrong anywhere. And then hang out at their haunted Hill House for the night and do some shots for a show.
Well, that'd be great. You know, I remember the Baker Hotel was the first place I ever went, and I snuck in through a broken window and spent about 3.5 hours in it, and got some. And of course, I'm new to this. I got a few experiences up in the ballroom area, but really, once I really fine-tuned myself into it with Catfish Plantation, I revisited the Baker and actually found the majority of the spirit hauntings are on the outside of the structure because they have to come to the outside to get attention because there's no one in there to give it to them. And I have some really amazing pictures from the courtyard and the pool area. And of course, you know, you'll be seeing those soon enough in October, as I have to give the Baker a little bit of a tribute there. But I tell you, one of the biggest things I got from the Baker Hotel from walking around on the inside for 3.5 hours was a severe lung infection.
Oh my gosh, I know. You'd have to wear a mask to go in there. And I'm surprised, you know, we've been seeing a lot on the news about the renovation and all of that. And you see these investigators walking around, and it's like, why are you not wearing a mask in there? You know there's dust and everything else in that hotel. I mean, my God, it was built way back when, and there's got to be so much done to that hotel for the renovations for them to even bring it up to par and for it to even match code for stuff nowadays that just walking in there after it's been closed for so long, you should be wearing a mask, you know?
Well, I tell you, I wish I would have been wearing a mask that night. I remember I was standing up by the bell tower. I have a picture of myself coming down with the winding stairwell at the bottom of the bell tower. But I remember going to take a drink of my water bottle, and I put the tip of it to my mouth, and it could taste nothing but debris, and it's like, great. And
like, lovely. What am I doing in here?
Well, I tell you, it was amazing because I really researched the structure before I went into it, and so I knew where the hidden bookcase was for Prohibition and all that other stuff where Mr. Baker used to hide his liquor. You can go in there and I remember pushing the bookcase and a panel opens up and it's got like 5 shelves in it where his booze used to be.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I tell you, my favorite area was still the ballroom, because when you're up in the ballroom and I walked out, I was at the Baker, and at this point it's about 2:30 in the morning, and I walked out on the mezzanine and just got a lot of great pictures from the top of it.
It's just gorgeous up there.
It is, and I still have my souvenir. I still have my little nameplate from the mailroom, but like I tell everybody, I purposely got a nameplate that was blank because I didn't. It's bad luck to have one with a name carved in it.
Yeah.
So, and I still have it. It's sitting up there with my book, my print book. So.
Uh-huh. Yeah, my dad was an architect, so I've kind of had a draw to the Baker, not just for paranormal reasons, but just because of the grandeur that it is. I mean, they were talking about in the day that it was built so solid that it's been able to last all this time, and it's still better built than some of the buildings that are built today with more modern technology. So when they do get remodeled, they don't have to do anything to the skeleton of the building. They just have to do what they need to do inside, and that's it. And that has a lot to say for that architect and for the designer. As a matter of fact, I was researching him. I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, but he actually started off as an engineer. His career was an engineer, and he went into being an architect. And so he took the engineering side of things, mixed it with the architectural side of things, and that's what made all of his hotels and all of his buildings so solid. And it's really, coming as an architect's daughter, it's really just something that truly fascinates me to see something like that.
You want to go sneak in with me? You want to go?
Yeah, I do.
So do it.
Somebody's got spell money for us, we're going.
Hell, oh yeah. See, Ghost Adventures went into it, and after that, used to they would just give you a warning, a citation. But after the Ghost Adventures show, all of a sudden it turned into a $250 fine. But you know, I'm Michael Graves, and they would pay me $250 just to step foot into it.
Michael Graves wants to go. They'll pay him for those pictures. I'm with Michael Graves.
well, I tell you what was funny is that the way I got in is there was a window broken, but it was on the other side. You know that archway that goes over the parking area.
Yes.
You know, it's a big giant iron gate. Well, on the other side of that iron gate was a window that was already broken. I wasn't going to break into it. I wasn't going to break anything.
Right. It was already there.
Yeah, I went that morning and I surveyed it and I found it. And the reason no one had patched it up because somebody's thinking nobody's going to try to jump this 9-foot iron gate. Well, I did. So because once again, I'm unstoppable.
I'm limber. Michael Graves doesn't say no to anything. Nothing at all.
I will find a way. When I set my mind to it, it happens. And there's a guy with a sheep. Hey, that's the way I did it when I was dying.
He's going to kill me now. Oh, my Lord. I've been sitting here watching him out of the corner of my eye. Now he's over here giggling his ass off.
Oh, that's funny. But I tell you,
that was Pear Beats. Pear Beats is dead. He's now a ghost. He's haunting my show.
But that'll be a good author photo at the end of book 3 is just to have me sitting at a desk with a bunch of people in sheets. You know, like
awesome. In the middle of the baker, no less. You can be up there in the cloud room.
Oh, the cloud room, yeah. Actually, what I would do is I'd probably hang in the bell tower, and because the bell tower is super awesome. There's no bell there anymore, but I tell you,
love to be up there.
When you walk to the bell tower, and they have those little concrete pieces that look like little half cups.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was with a couple of people, and I'm like, hey, step onto that, I dare you, I dare you.
Do it, Michael.
Do it. It's like, forget the ghost. You're about to fall like 15 stories or whatever.
Right. You could be a ghost of the Baker Hotel. Just step right here.
Hey, I tell you, after the Baker Hotel, I was happy and grateful for places like Miss Molly's Bed and Breakfast and Catfish Plantation because they're small. They're small.
Yes.
I don't have to go up and down a bunch of stairs. Everything happens within a certain...
God, yeah, you have to be like in good shape to go over to the Baker because there's no power, no elevators.
Well, what's funny when you get in there, there's 3 stairwells, but I'm glad I researched the blueprints of it before I went because not every stairwell takes you to where you want to go. You have to, one goes to one thing, one goes to another one. And I'm glad I took the time to do that because, oh my God, I should get lost. You get lost.
Oh my God, could you imagine getting lost in there?
But you know what really is interesting about the Baker is it so built up just because you can't get into it? Does it fall under one of those because you can't have it? It obviously must be something unbelievable, but you know, and it's got that mystique about it simply because it's inaccessible. It's inaccessible legally.
Well, they were doing tours up until somebody told me 4 years ago, I think it was. And I think the reason why they stopped was because of the liability factor of it. Because, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you went in there, you got a lung infection. So, you know, you're not only thinking about an internal contaminant happening to somebody, but somebody else getting hurt. You've got the homeless going in there. You've got people going in there tearing it up. So you've got more of a liability going on there. And I think when the current group of investors and the people that are looking at remodeling it took it a little more seriously and really started getting the ball rolling, I think they wanted to seal it up and preserve what was there. It's an investment, you know, so they don't want to.
I'll tell you, like when I, you know, I'm going to put that in book 3. I've got some really great photos, but I decided, you know, there's really no internal shots that are usable because there's too much graffiti. I'm not going to put. You have this beautiful structure, but I'm not going to put a picture this of an interior shot when it's got all these words and stuff all over it. Well, I'm sorry, you know. So and it really is disappointing because as I went through the internal pictures taken inside of it, there's just graffiti everywhere. It's just unbelievable.
Somebody would want to do that. You know what I mean? It's a building, and why it's not a person, it's got its own history too. I mean, it was something back in its day, and it was something to that city. And it's so disrespectful what some people have done to it. You know, and I would love to go in there, enjoy it for the structure that it is. But with the graffiti, you'll never be able to fully enjoy it until they are able to renovate it and remodel it.
Well, what's funny, when we got in there, it was me and a couple of close friends, and we found a group of teenagers that were in there. They were in the lobby area, but I looked at one of them and said, "Oh man, you better get out of here right now because the cops are coming." Just because we didn't want anyone in there with us, and of course they're like, "Oh man," and they're all like running out, and we're like, "Good, get them out of here. I don't want them in here while I'm in here." So.
Idiots, you see us in here, we're telling you the cops are coming.
I'm sorry.
Come on now.
Get on.
I love to see the Baker Suite with the really cool detailed fireplace that's up in there.
Well, Mr. Baker's suite, you can tell because it's got like, I mean, have you ever seen pictures of it? It's got like it's kind of, you can tell it's his suite. The door is specially handcrafted and it's all fancy. It's all fancy and stuff. But I tell you, what was funny, you walk through some of those rooms and it's like old moldy mattresses from homeless people throwing them in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm smelling this. Oh, it stinks.
Like,
sting. It's bad. It's bad. But I tell you, you know, once again, going back to everything, really looking forward to the last book because as everyone has put, it's like photography like you've never seen before, and I've been very blessed to have been able to do it. But with book 3, I get, as people say, for one more time, I get to pull that curtain back and let you see what's on the other side, and it's very special as I'm going through it all. It's just it's been an amazing 4 years, despite the following home stuff and all this other stuff. So many spiritual moments, and I'm just grateful to be able to have crafted a series of books that is unlike anything else you'll ever see or will, and I get to put it out there like that, and it's just so special. I'm just very overwhelmed by it, and at the same time, it's amazing how I felt about it back in May 15, 2010, as upcoming May 15, 2014. It's a totally different look at it.
Well, you know, it's funny because that really probably all 4 years, but probably the last 3 years have probably flown by. The first year was just like, wow, this is awesome, you're enjoying it. And then after that, it just seems like everything goes by so fast.
Well, once I photographed the angel, that was everything changed after that.
Yeah.
It changed. It did, and it had its good points and its bad. But it really, once I decided to take that and take it in a very spiritual Christian direction, there are forces on the other side that aren't very happy that you're doing that, and so I've dealt with that. But at the same time, everything always comes out in the wash because it's simply meant to be, and I accept what's meant to be. But as a writer, I tell you, when you get down to the third book, as wonderful and as fantastic as it is, I mean, as a writer and a journalist, you know, I'm ready to move on to new things, and I'm ready. I can see the end of it coming, at least as far as books go. And I tell you what was real unique at some point. You know, I remember the strong desire to always want to photograph and always go. And I tell you, I'll be honest, with the amount of photographs that I've gotten and the things that I've photographed, I can honestly say if I was to never take another one, I am very, very grateful and very, very content with what I have because, like someone pointed out, just one of my photographs would be like a lifetime of research to anyone.
Absolutely.
And so I've just been grateful to be able to get that level.
Well, and you got it documented. You know what I mean? So it's now going to, when you pass, it's now going to have an effect on other people.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's one thing to build a career out of it, a writing career. I have a degree in journalism, but I tell you, the way the photography has touched people on a spiritual level, and I get these wonderful messages in my inbox, and I get the opportunity to counsel and witness, and so I understand the deeper purpose of why. But I tell you, it is a door that once you open that door up, it doesn't shut. And even though I move on to other projects, obviously it'll always be a part of my life because it's embedded at this point. But I tell you, I never, when you're looking at those books as a kid and you're like, wow, I really love this, and then, once again, I talk to my wife and it's like, we didn't ask for this, no one asked for it. The next thing you know, you're in the, you go from the kid that was looking at all these haunted places books to one day photographing what's considered the most amazing photography in the world. Some people have called it, which is very humbling to me. I'm like, well, don't tell me that because someone's probably got something out there. but it's amazing because once again, it comes down, my wife is involved a lot, but I tell you, once again, it comes down to just it's not a team. It's not a paranormal team. It's not anything like that. It's an individual jumping in the mix. And while the paranormal, like when I was hanging around Fort Worth Paranormal, while they were doing the research, I was back there photographing what they were seeing, what they couldn't see.
Right.
And it's great because you get those books that'll say like a ghost stood on this staircase, and you'll see a picture of an empty staircase. But if you get one of my books, you see what's on the staircase.
Here, let me show you.
Here it is, right here. And do you know what's really funny? And I have to put this out there. The second book really pays tribute to a lot of those haunted places books that I grew up with. But what's funny, when you get down to the Marie Laveau St. Louis Cemetery 1 story at the end,
yes,
there's no actual ghost photo in that one, and I did that on purpose. So it's actually a story with the images of the tombs and the crypts and such. And I did that on purpose and didn't actually put a paranormal shot in there. But the irony of it is that was the story that scared people the most. Is the one without a ghost picture in it. The irony of it all, right?
Yeah, they have the mental images come up as they're reading the story. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, it does, and I tell you but I still have to put the shake-up photos. And this photo will reappear in book 3, but the one of the little kid looking out of the window, the little ghost kid looking out of the window from Miss Molly's hotel. Everyone tells me that one just sends chills up their spine. So yes, you will see that in a very grand way in the third one, because I tell you, that was a photograph I took I got out of my car and we were just meeting some friends at the basement bar, which is underneath Miss Molly's, underneath the Stars Cafe. And something told me to bring my camera that night, so I grabbed my camera. And as I got out of the car, all I did was lock the car. And as I walked behind Miss Molly's where the parking lot was, I just felt the urge to all of a sudden take like 2 or 3 shots, and I kept walking, little to know that I was getting one of the most amazing shots.
But you know what? That's how you were that night at the event, too. You were just, I feel like taking a picture. Look what I got. I'm like, shit, I feel like taking a picture, too, and I'm not getting anything.
Oh, right. Well, I tell you, I can't wait for you to see some of these images that I'm going to be putting in book 3, because I tell you, it's keep in mind, April 2011, an angel of multiple photographs. December 2011, it happened again at Miss Molly's. And 7 photographs now, which you'll get to see the entire series of both of those in the third one. But I tell you, once again, it's like, what are the odds of that, huh? And I have to tell myself this sometimes, because it's like, obviously it was a meant to be deal. Because I figure if God didn't want me writing ghost books and taking ghost pictures, I probably wouldn't have made it past a couple of orbs, So.
Right? We'd be like, no, I'm done.
Sorry, you can't do that.
Well, we're getting to the close of the show, so.
Sure.
Around October is when we'll see this book. You guys be looking on the DNS page, looking on my page. As soon as Michael makes the announcement on his page, I'll start sharing it, and we can all look at the book. And yeah, I think you and I need to plan to do some sneaking into some places sometime soon. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Well, we should, and I really want you to definitely take it, because I'm serious about it. I want you to be serious about it too, because I tell you, after Forward with Paranormal, that was not. In a lot of cases, the paranormal community has left I don't mind saying it, it has left a very poor skewed view. I'm not very, I can't even think the word of it. I'm not very cool with a lot of that, but I'm cool with you, Sherry, and I'm cool with DNS. And so I would say that out of anyone, you're the only one I would do this with. Yeah, you are.
I think it'd be awesome. Well, and you and I had fun at the event. We just haven't been able to hang out since then.
No, we haven't. But we need to go. We need to go to Cartertown and we need to go to Mineral Wells.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
fact, I'm returning to the Baker and going to do a lot of exterior shots. There's a few more exterior shots that I want to get for book 3, and that night I go out there.
We
should go along.
Yeah,
and
we'll see.
A lot of it's structural. I'm sorry.
I said we should see if Haunted Hill House is open that weekend too.
We should, and I want to go on a full moon, and this is going back to a photographic sense, but in order to photograph the Baker, because there's no light there, and if you want a good structural outside photo, you have to get it just before dusk.
Yep.
And so definitely I want to go during a full moon time, because once again it goes back to the photography. But
absolutely. Well,
but yeah, you can hang out there till like 3 a.m. We can break in. You want to go in?
Hang out there. When I go hang out there with Angela, we like stay after the ghost walk's done and after everybody leaves, and that's why I take all my pictures. I am still looking for the perfect picture that I have to take it. I can't see somebody else's, but I want the perfect picture of the very last bee in existence that's on that garage, because I have a feeling that when they get ready to remodel, that bee is going to end up somewhere in a case or somewhere else where it's safe. And I want to be able to take I kind of have the image in my mind of what I want it to look like. Mm-hmm. So I want to take a really cool picture of it in its original spot before they do something else with it.
Oh, definitely. And I tell you, when saving it for book 3, but there's a lot of shots that I got there, but there's a couple of them one by the pool area, and there's one inside the courtyard area, which is just like, yeah, that's making the book. So
yeah. It's such an awesome, I can't stress it enough, location to photograph. And I don't know if it's because it is paranormally active or if it's just because the building itself seems to have its own personality, if that makes any sense at all.
Well, I'll tell you, even the first time, I've never been to a haunted place before, and I heard about the haunted history, but keep in mind this is the first place I ever went, but once I was inside the building, it's easy to forget about the haunted part of it, because you're just caught up in it. You're like, this place is just unbelievable. And then there's the disheartening part to see the fact it's all graffitied and junk,
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have been able to see, I keep up with the Baker website, because as they find pictures and letters and receipts and that type of stuff, they add it out there. I'm still waiting to see more pictures of the interior. I want to see, we see what it looks like now, but I want to see what it looked like in its heyday. I want to see more of those. So I'm hoping with Channel 8 coming out and doing some stories on it, they actually posted on their Facebook page today, if you have pictures and memories of the Baker to share, please share on this thread. And people were sharing pictures. So I'm hoping we get to see more of the insides. There were too many parties and events and celebrities that stay there that there has to be these pictures around somewhere of the inside that we can see.
Oh, I'm sure someone's got them in a lock vault somewhere.
All that fun stuff. I want to see all that. So absolutely, you and I will chat on offline about some fun stuff, and we'll get some plans together.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, thanks for having me on again, and
thanks for coming on and dealing with my ghost.
Yes. It's a shame they're not all really like that,
I know, right? Not all of them are fun.
Hey, I tell you, whenever you come out of a place that shakes you up a lot, and you're all like your energy's thrown off, and your chakras are all messed up because the place has totally freaked you out, just throw on a Bee Gees Greatest Hits CD. It fixes it. Because it's happy.
It's so happy.
Just remember, all the hauntings is always about. It's like you think about hauntings, it's always about who died tragically. You never hear of one where he died peacefully in his sleep, and now the place is overrun. You don't hear that.
You never hear that. Well, you and I will visit a little bit later. Thanks for coming back on, and we'll talk some more. When your book comes out, we'll have you back on for sure.
Well, definitely, and thanks for having me again.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
All right, bye. Next week on the show, we are going to be talking with Will White from Light Paranormal Investigations and Selena Roan from Fear. The two of them are partnered together to bring you the Wiedemeyer Academy and Miss Hattie's. If you guys have not seen these locations, look them up on Facebook. They're located in Belton, Texas, which is right around the corner from where Deegan grew up. So we're going to go check it out too. But we'll get to talk about the Wiedemeyer. We'll see some pictures. We'll get to talk about Miss Hattie's, and we'll see some pictures. And Selena's going to have some EVPs for us that, you know, I heard one today, and it's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty cool. So we'll see you guys next week, same time. You guys stay cool until then, and have a great weekend. Bye.
And I guess that's a little too updated.
You know, kind of archaic over here some days, but I don't know, you scare me being that up to date on stuff.
Oh, right. Well, it's funny. When we did the last interview, I just had the phone pressed to my ear, and now I'm just looking at a static computer screen talking to it.
You're like, I'm just talking to my computer now. Now I'm really talking, and it's talking back. What the hell?
Right. It's talking back. So.
You know, I feel like it's Christmas time. You got lights back there in your tree.
You can see that. I can see nothing. Okay, yeah, there it is.
I can see it.
Cool,
I got
cool.
stuff back behind me. I probably need to come up with something really cool right here for the background. Make it look like I'm on the beach or something.
Oh, okay. Now I'm starting to see something. Now if I click, okay, here we go.
What do you see? What do you see? Describe it to me.
Okay, it says you're seeing video on this call because Eric has a group call video. Find out. Okay. Oh, here. Now I can see myself.
Woohoo! Now you can see everything.
Let me get positioned here. Yeah, that's better.
All right. Can everybody see us now?
Who's running in the background? Who's that?
That's Ninja Parabeats.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
I told him it was a no holds barred show tonight, so
Sure. Well,
he didn't have for tonight.
cheers. There you go.
Cheers. Let's go. See my blue redneck cup?
Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
I know. I'm good. What have you been up to? You're working on another book now, aren't you?
It's the last one. It's the last one of the series.
This series. I was gonna say I don't believe you're writing your last book.
Well, it's the last one of the ghost photography. That's it. So yeah.
So
That'll
what's
be
this one.
That'll be it.
What are you talking about in this one?
This one's gonna get a chance to. Boy, you have to excuse the awkwardness. This is bizarre. This is weird.
Hey, welcome to my world. I have to do this every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday night. Okay.
But you know, it's been like I look at my camera here, but to see you, I have to look over here, so it looks like I'm not paying attention. So it's kind of like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Well, I'm looking at myself and I'm looking at you, and it's weird. It's like talking to yourself in a mirror, and that's very weird.
Right.
That's weird. Well, anyway, I'm going to cover myself. Yeah, basically the third book wraps everything up. You know, with the catfish tale, it was a chance to really...
Out of town again in May. March still has some things to hold for us. We're working on some other things kind of on the back burner. I've been working on a project for about 6 months now, so you guys might see that pop up around summertime. It just depends on how hard I can get the feet hitting the pavement and get some stuff done. I do wanted to let you guys know that coming up, I think we're going to start it the week after next. We are going to start bringing on the NPS reps. So you guys got to meet the department chairs and talk to everybody and chat with them and ask questions and kind of pick their brains a little bit for their department. So now we're going to bring the reps on, the guys that you guys get to chat with and get to boot the ads and kind of play teacher, I guess, for lack of a better word, on the wall with everybody. So we're going to do them 2 at a time. It should be a party on the show. You guys, if y'all want to send me questions ahead of time to ask these reps, I kind of told them we were going to fly by the seat of our pants and that I wasn't really going to give them like an outline or anything. So I kind of want to put them on the spot. You know, we uphold everything for NPS on the wall. We uphold the rules and we do all that. So we kind of are always walking a line, so to speak, in there. So I kind of want to catch them off guard. So if you guys have some really off-the-wall type questions we can ask them, send them to me because I would love to kind of catch them off guard. So we'll do that. We've got 12 reps. We'll do that for about 6 weeks. And that should take us into the nice weather. And then we plan on doing some more live investigations. So you guys stay tuned. We're going to have some fun with a lot of that. You never know where we're going to be and where we're going to end up. I know we had Brandy on last week. She had a very successful book signing over the weekend. You guys can buy her book on Amazon. And I believe Walmart was carrying it as well. I need to put some links up for that and support her. But I did want to thank you guys for watching last week, and those of you that showed up to support her. She had an awesome opening for her book signing, so I was really proud to hear about that. What else do we have going on? I got a ninja in the background over here, so I'm going to kind of lean to you. I'm going to be video bombed tonight by the ninja that is known as Pear Beats. Where do you want to go? I mean, where do you want to go investigate for the show?
I want to go to Haunted Hill House again. I think that was fun.
Hill House or Haunted Hill House?
Wait, there's two of them?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So let's clarify for you guys that are here in the Metroplex. There is Hill House Manor, which is in Gainesville, and that's our favorite place to go.
Yes.
That Linda and Del Hill own, just up the road here. And then there's Haunted Hill House, which is in Mineral Wells, which is probably, 2 blocks from the Baker Hotel. And you guys, let's talk about the Baker.
Ooh.
If you've been realizing or paying attention on my page, if you guys are personal friends of me, or if you've been watching Channel 8 in Dallas, we actually have seen, we've actually seen some updates on the Baker Hotel in the news. They had one of the news reporters go out there, and she actually did a walkthrough, and they're talking about the renovations. So coming up in March, and it's a huge vote. I think it comes up, I want to say it's the 9th, but don't quote me on that. I know it's sometime the second week of March. They are doing a vote in Mineral Wells, and they are voting for, I believe it's a tax referendum to, I want to say it was like a quarter of a cent or something like that tax. And what's going to end up happening is they're going to come up with the balance of the money needed, which is, I know this sounds like a lot to those of us that don't make a lot of money, but they only lack $4 million to raise the $56 million to start renovations on the Baker. And if this tax referendum passes, then you guys, they're going to start renovating towards the end of this year. And it will take them about a year to have the Baker ready. So that means this time next year it could be under construction. And when we're going on the Ghost Walk with Angela, we might have...
No?
Yeah.
We lost Barry.
I didn't hang up. I just said added to the call. Ooh, Skype is doing bad things.
Welcome to
All right.
Hi,
Hello.
Sherry.
Can you hear me?
Man, I apologize, everybody. That is a Skype issue.
That
Can you
is
hear me?
Yep.
TV.
We hear you just fine.
All right. What do I need to click so I can see you?
You won't see me.
You'll see me.
You'll see Sherry, and that's it.
back to them. We were just talking about the Baker, and if this tax referendum passes, it will be open within a year. So this time next year, they'll be doing some construction, and probably around Christmas of next year, we'll be able to go out and investigate the Baker. So I plan on renting a room. You guys, if y'all want to get on the train, let's go. Let's fill a whole floor, and let's go investigate the Baker. Let's go see what's going on tonight. So now we've got Mr. Graves on with us. Somebody had to go fill his wine glass.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me? I was telling everybody I got the redneck version of a wine glass tonight. It's a blue Solo cup, not red.
Do I need to click on you to look at you?
I'm not as fancy as you. Can you see?
All right. I'm just talking to your picture.
You should be. Oh, but you know what? I don't know what version of Skype you're using. You may or may not be able to see me.
Yeah, I used the Windows 8.
welcome to DNS Live. It's the middle of the week. It's been a long day. It's already been a long week. And my guest tonight and I have this challenge going on. So if you're watching the show, you're kicking back at home, go ahead and grab yourself a drink. I got the redneck version of a wine glass going on tonight. It's not a red Solo cup, it's blue because we do blue in this house. We don't do red. So you guys grab your Solo cup, grab your glass of wine, grab you something to drink. Let's sit and kick back. We're going to talk a little paranormal tonight, but nothing serious. We've been pretty serious the last couple of weeks. We're going to take a break tonight and have some fun. So anyway, it's been kind of a crazy week. We finished up with a client over the weekend with a cleansing, and we're pretty successful at that. Had some changes happen for her throughout the week, which is good. I always love it when a client case wraps up good and we have some positivity come out of it. So that was kind of the bang to our week this week. We still have 2 more cases that are coming up that we're going to start working on. So now that we've got the move done and we're kind of settled, still kind of living out of boxes though, y'all. But now that we're a little bit settled, the team's starting to pick back up, and with the weather getting nicer, it's going to be nice. So we're getting out for sure, going out of town in April. We'll be going out